My wife and my childhood friend made their announcement on the night of my wife Sarah's birthday. I stayed up waiting for her until it was early morning, but she never came home. Instead, I found out about her and her special friend Tom because their announcement was all over the internet, trending everywhere. The website almost stopped working that night because so many people were looking at it. Lots of people online were hitting the like button and sending them congratulations. I calmly typed a comment that just said, "Wish you happiness." Before that, I had tried calling her many, many times, but she didn't answer any of my calls. After I left that comment, she finally called me, but only to get angry. She said it was just for promoting a movie, that they were only friends, and that I shouldn't make a big deal about it. Right then, I knew I had to get a divorce. When Sarah finally got home, I was awkwardly trying to pack my things. Because of her demanding job in the entertainment world, we had been spending less and less time together lately. Yesterday was her birthday, and she had called to say she wanted to celebrate at home, so I had gotten ready. I bought presents and put up all sorts of decorations ahead of time, feeling really excited about it. I woke up early to cook a whole table full of her favorite foods, but I waited and waited until early morning, and she still hadn't come back. Instead, I saw that announcement about her and her supposed sweetheart trending online. I sat on the sofa by myself all night long, unable to sleep, just looking at all the things I had worked hard to prepare. I had hoped to surprise Sarah, but now it all just felt sad and pointless. Looking at the food and the cake that hadn't been touched, I saw a quick look of guilt in Sarah's eyes. The cake was one I had driven across half the city just to get for her because she liked it. It seemed like all that effort was just wasted now. "Sarah, let's get a divorce," I said, looking straight at her, hoping to see some sign of sadness or hurt on her face. But there wasn't any. Her eyes looked empty, and her face didn't show any feeling at all. She seemed sure that I was just getting angry about something small. She quietly picked up a wrapped cake she had brought with her and put it down in front of me, saying in a slightly playful tone, "I told you, didn't I? The trending post was just for movie promotion. The pictures are just from the film set. This cake is from your favorite place. I got you some." She looked at the cake I had made that was sitting on the table, which had melted and didn't even look like a cake anymore, and said with a look of disgust, "This cake is so ugly it can't be eaten anymore. Just throw it away." Hearing her say that, I couldn't help but laugh without any real humor. I never thought that the birthday cake I had gone out of my way to buy for her would be seen as just trash in her eyes. I looked at the cake she brought, didn't open it, but spoke to her seriously. "Sarah, I am your husband. Yesterday you publicly announced something with someone else and embarrassed me in front of everyone, and you still expect me to just accept it?" Sarah's face became serious, and she pressed her lips together. "Michael, what are you talking about? I've already explained it. Stop pushing this." Sarah was starting to get a bit annoyed. In the past, whenever I was upset about something, she would buy me something nice and say a few kind words, and I would usually just get over it. But this time was different. I didn't even really like the cake from that place she brought. And besides, it was a place she often went to with Tom. Seeing that I was just quiet, Sarah gave a small, cold smile. "Michael, I told you from the very beginning, if Tom hadn't gone away, if it hadn't been for that accident, we would never have gotten married. You didn't forget that, did you?" Even though I knew she never really wanted to marry me, it still hurt to hear her say it out loud. Sarah, Tom, and I all met in college. I had a crush on Sarah from the first moment I saw her. I even introduced her to Tom. The three of us became good friends, spending lots of time together, but then I started to notice them getting closer, and I started to feel like I was just in the way, fading into the background. By then, it was too late. They became the popular couple on campus, the kind everyone talked about. I just kept my feelings for Sarah to myself. For some reason, the year we were supposed to graduate, Sarah and Tom broke up. Tom went overseas to study acting further. After Tom left, Sarah seemed to change a lot. She started working in the entertainment business, taking any acting job she could get. I stayed by her side as a friend, worried that people in that world might treat her badly. I would go to meals and parties with her, and even drank alcohol for her when she didn't want to. From all the drinking, I ended up having problems with my stomach. Since she couldn't cook at all, I taught myself to make different dishes for her, even getting burned by hot oil sometimes. She was pretty and talented, and I even used connections from my own family to introduce her to movie directors. Soon, she went from being a small extra to a new actress that everyone wanted to work with. Because of something that happened when we were both drunk, we ended up sleeping together. I had liked her for so long, so I suggested that we should get married to do the right thing. After thinking about it for a bit, she agreed, and I was really happy. I thought that maybe my honesty and all my efforts had finally made her care about me. But not many people knew that we were married. A few times I wanted her to tell everyone about us, but she just looked at me with a cold frown. She would say, "My career is doing well right now," announcing it wouldn't be good for either of us. After we got married, I slowly stopped working as a director, only filming something every now and then. Most of my time was spent just being with her. All these years, I really thought she might have developed at least a little bit of feeling for me, just a tiny bit. Seeing that I wasn't saying anything, the slight smile disappeared from Sarah's face. "I'm a little tired," she said. "I'll take a shower and rest. I have to go to the set tonight." Watching her walk away, I just kept thinking. After Tom came back, he quickly became a very popular new actor because of his looks. Sarah pretended she didn't care at first, but I knew she did. Otherwise, she wouldn't have gone out of her way to get a part in a movie just so she could work with him. I started cleaning up the table, putting everything away, and throwing it all in the trash can. I was moving my blankets and clothes out of the main bedroom when Sarah, who had just finished showering, saw me. She looked at me with a mocking expression. "What's all this commotion about now? Planning to have separate bedrooms?" "Yes," I said. "I think we should take a break." She frowned and said in a cold voice, "Whatever you want." After saying that, she turned around and went back into her room. I moved my things into the guest room and lay down on the bed, hoping I could finally get some sleep. Ever since Tom came back, Sarah started coming home really late, or sometimes not at all. I would call her, and she would just say she was still on set filming. But until she actually got home, I couldn't really sleep. I was scared that the happiness I felt I had somehow stolen would be taken away from me again. One time I couldn't help myself and called Sarah when I was feeling anxious, and all she said was, "Can't sleep? Take a sleeping pill." And then she hung up. So lately, I had been relying on sleeping pills just to fall asleep. I thought that after everything that happened yesterday, I would have a hard time sleeping, but surprisingly, I fell asleep pretty quickly. When I finally woke up, it was already getting dark outside. Sarah had left at some point without me even noticing. I looked at my phone for a bit, and then suddenly, another story was trending online. It said, "Newly famous actress cheating with rookie actor. Turns out the woman is married, and the guy is the other man." There were pictures of her with Tom, and also a photo of Sarah and me quietly going into the government office where you register marriages. The internet went crazy. The comment section was full of people guessing what was going on. Even my past as a director was dug up by people online. Some people went to Tom's page just to say mean things to him, and others were being overly dramatic, even sending him flower arrangements like you send to funerals. Sarah called me, which was unusual, but it was about Tom. "Michael, can you please clear things up? This looks really bad for Tom. He's just starting to become popular. Say that we aren't married, that we are just friends, and that the picture of us at the government office was just for some kind of TV show." Listening to her say that, my heart felt heavy. Do you really care that much about him getting hurt? Sarah, isn't what you are doing already too much? We are the ones who are married. There was silence on the other end for a few seconds, and then I heard a cold laugh. "Michael, This is not a discussion. I am telling you what you need to do." In no time at all the talk online about Tom being a homewrecker disappeared. Sarah also posted something explaining the situation, saying that we were just longtime friends, and she tagged me in it. Feeling like I had no other choice, I had to post a statement saying that Sarah and I were just friends too. Since that day, Sarah and I haven't spoken to each other. I didn't even bother calling her. It felt like we had entered a kind of silent war. Whenever we used to fight, I was always the first one to try and make things right. She never apologized because she knew that I couldn't bring myself to leave her. One day, Sarah called me out of nowhere. "The movie crew is having a party tonight to celebrate finishing the film. I'll send you the address. Pick me up later." When Sarah was filming a movie, I would often go visit her on set, and I had even gone to a few of her wrap-up parties before. But she always told people we were just friends. Even though no one really knew our true relationship, people could tell that things between us were more than just a simple friendship. But this time felt different. Before, I was the one who had to ask Sarah to let me come along. This time she called to invite me. I felt confused, but there was also a tiny bit of hope in me. I carefully chose a light-colored suit she had given me for my birthday. She had said that I looked good in lighter colors. Just as I finished getting ready, Sarah's car pulled up downstairs. I got a message with the address and went outside. Sarah was leaning against the car, waiting for me. I had thought she would be in a big van, but she was driving herself. A quick look of amusement showed in her eyes when she saw me, but it disappeared quickly. She looked at my suit closely. I thought it was strange, but before I could ask her about it, a cheerful voice interrupted. "Michael! Long time no see." It was Tom, sitting in the passenger seat, wearing a suit that was a very similar color to mine. His face was handsome, and he smiled brightly. He really was a good-looking guy. "Oh, I insisted on coming along with Sarah to pick you up. Hope you don't mind." Then he winked at Sarah. No wonder Sarah's expression had been strange earlier. No wonder she liked seeing me in light colors. It was because Tom liked them. Our suits matched, but his fit him much better than mine fit me. Standing there next to him, I felt like a cheap imitation. I clenched my hands tightly and forced a smile. "Long time no see." His smile didn't fade, and there was something hidden in his eyes. "Also, I haven't thanked you yet. If you hadn't cleared things up online, I would still be getting yelled at by angry people." The memory of having to do that made my heart ache a little bit. As I struggled to think of a response, Sarah gently said to him, "Let's talk in the car or we'll be late." Tom smiled at her warmly. "Sarah, you're always so on time. Even on our dates, you were never late." Sarah pretended to be annoyed in a cute way, then got into the driver's seat. Watching them together like that, I stood to the side quietly, knowing that my smile must have looked terrible. But somehow, even though they had broken up a long time ago and Sarah was now my wife, I felt completely out of place. It was just like back in school. Whenever Tom was around, Sarah's attention was completely focused on him. Trying to hide the bitterness I felt, I got into the back seat. The whole drive, Tom talked to me in a lively way. He told me funny stories about him and Sarah while they were filming. He even talked about the people who worked on the movie throwing him a surprise birthday party. His eyes were full of pride when he mentioned it. Pretending to sound like he felt bad, he said, "Michael, you wouldn't believe it. Sarah and the crew kept it a secret from me to surprise me. It would have been great if you were there. She even invited some of our old classmates, but Sarah said you were too busy with work." I was caught off guard by that. I looked at Sarah's eyes in the rearview mirror, but her expression was hard to understand, and she didn't offer any explanation. I forced a painful smile and said, "Yeah, I was really busy with work at the hotel." Tom was the first one to get out of the car. He quickly went around to the driver's side to open the door for Sarah and helped her get out. They were so focused on each other in that moment that they didn't notice something felt off. They walked ahead side by side, while I quietly followed behind them. As we walked into the hotel, someone working there showed us to the private room where the party was. On our way, a fan recognized them and came up to ask for their autographs. As we walked into the room, someone suddenly shouted from behind us, "Sarah, Tom, you two really look perfect together. Be happy." Sarah opened her mouth like she was going to say something, but she didn't explain anything. Tom just smiled and accepted the compliment. I silently watched them. They really did look perfect together, like the ideal couple from their school days until now. Some people from the movie crew knew that my relationship with Sarah wasn't just a simple friendship. When they heard that shout, their faces looked frozen, and an awkward smile appeared on their faces for a moment. Sarah's manager, who knew that I was married to her, quickly changed the subject when he saw that I looked unhappy. "Michael, you're here too. Long time no see." I knew they were trying to help me avoid the awkward situation, so I smiled back, thankfully, and went along with what they were doing. Long time no see. The waiter led us to the table. Because I came with Sarah, I sat at her table. Sarah sat down first, and Tom naturally took the seat right next to her. I watched them for a moment, choosing not to say anything, and instead took a seat across from them. Right beside me was Chloe, the actress who played the fourth most important character in the drama. She was a new star who had just gotten a lot of fans because of her sweet and innocent appearance. Seeing me, Chloe turned to say hello. "Long time no see, Michael." I was a little surprised. You know me?" She laughed, and I could see her dimples. She sounded a bit excited. "Yes. At last month's school reunion, you gave a speech as someone who had done really well after graduating. You really showed us younger people what we should aim for." When she mentioned the reunion, I suddenly remembered that I had invited Sarah to come with me, but she said she couldn't because she was filming. But on that very day, I saw her all dressed up at the event with Tom, visiting our old teachers and classmates together. People had said, "Sarah, who would have thought? You and Tom, the perfect couple, still together. Getting married soon, huh? Remember to invite us?" Hearing this, Tom smiled and seemed to agree, and Sarah shyly leaned on his shoulder. Everyone around them smiled like they knew something special was going on. Back in the moment at the party, Chloe kept talking happily. "This is my very first drama, acting with the amazing Sarah. Even though I don't have many scenes, I'm so excited." Her energy was charming, and I couldn't help but feel a bit nostalgic for the feeling of being young and full of passion. "But why aren't you directing anymore, Michael? We watched one of your films at school. It was really good." I forced a smile, my thoughts still caught up in the memory of the reunion. Noticing that my mood had changed, Chloe started talking about something else, and we continued chatting. Her cheerful nature made me feel a little better. Meanwhile, Sarah, who had been talking to the director, looked over and saw that I was talking happily with another woman. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly, and her eyes gave me a look that seemed to show displeasure and a warning. I was confused by her reaction. She was openly with Tom, while Chloe and I were just talking innocently. The director, sensing that the atmosphere had become a bit tense, raised his glass. "Come on. Today is the party to celebrate finishing the movie. I'll have a drink first. Everyone help yourselves." The lively mood came back as people picked up their glasses. Halfway through the party, the assistant director, who seemed a bit drunk, came over to Tom with his glass. "Tom, have a drink with me. Your acting was excellent. Drink up, and there will be even more great roles for you." The room became quiet. Everyone exchanged nervous looks. This assistant director had a reputation for being mean to new actors on set, but his connections made it hard for anyone to stand up to him. Tom looked uncomfortable. He didn't want to drink, but he also didn't want to make the assistant director angry. Sarah took the glass with a smile. "Our new actor isn't very good with alcohol. I'll drink this one for him." And she drank it all down in one go. Tom looked at her with admiration. The assistant director's expression became dark, and the feeling in the room turned cold. Chloe and I looked at each other, confused, not sure what was happening. The director quickly stepped in with his own glass raised. "Our award-winning actress can certainly hold her drink. Let's all toast to that." Some of the staff playfully teased Sarah for caring so much about the new actor, and the mood became lighter again, as if nothing difficult had just happened. Watching everyone talking and laughing together, I felt a bit trapped and decided to go outside to get some fresh air. In the restroom, I turned on the water faucet and splashed cold water on my face, trying to clear my confused thoughts. I went back into the room, and just as I sat back down, Tom, with a smile, came over to me with his glass. "Michael, a toast to you. Thanks for helping clear up that trending topic, and for always taking care of Sarah while I was overseas. Here's to you." He drank his drink all at once. Holding my stomach, which was suddenly starting to hurt, I replied softly, "I'm not feeling very well today. I can't drink. I'll just toast with tea instead." The moment I said that, Sarah raised an eyebrow. "You can't drink, Michael? I remember you being able to drink a lot at social events." She seemed to not remember that ever since I got stomach problems from drinking for her, I had been avoiding alcohol. Tom's eyes quickly looked around. Then he grabbed the bottle and filled the empty glass that was in front of me. He handed it to me with a determined smile, but his eyes looked like they were challenging me. "Yeah, Michael, I remember when you used to drink a lot back then. Long time no see, and you won't even have this one drink with me." With me just sitting there, Sarah didn't look happy either. I took a deep breath, took the glass from his hand, and drank it down quickly. I held the glass up high and looked at Sarah and Tom. They looked satisfied. The room became silent for a moment, and then suddenly, someone started clapping. It was Chloe sitting behind me. "Michael, you really can drink a lot." I gave her a look of thanks. Others realized what was happening and started clapping too. The mood got a bit better. Tom gave a knowing grin and went back to sit next to Sarah. The alcohol felt like fire in my stomach. Chloe noticed how pale my face was and asked quietly, "Are you okay?" I waved my hand, showing her that I was fine. She looked at me, then at Sarah and Tom, and hesitated before saying, "You and Sarah?" I gave a small, humorless laugh. "Just like you think." I looked at Sarah again. She was still laughing with Tom, protecting him from people who wanted him to drink. I just wanted to get away. That soft, caring look in her eyes was never meant for me. She didn't see me, or how uncomfortable I was, unlike Chloe, who was practically a stranger. I gave up. I got up and left without looking back. Back at the house, I started packing more seriously this time. The place held so many memories. I had bought all sorts of things that were meant for couples, thinking it would make the place feel more like a real home. But my efforts didn't mean anything anymore. I thought that if I just tried hard enough, one day I would be able to make Sarah care about me. Just when I thought she might finally be changing, Tom came back. And I was right back where I started. Never mind. I didn't care anymore. As I was about to leave with my suitcase, Tom came in using the house code. I was surprised. Sarah had actually given him the code to the house. I thought this was supposed to be just my place and hers. Tom smiled slightly. "Michael, I heard you weren't feeling well, so I came to check on you. Sarah is on the phone downstairs, so I came up." He loosened his tie, showing off some marks on his neck that looked like they were from kissing. His action was hard to ignore. I gave a cold laugh. "Sarah isn't here. You can stop pretending." Tom closed the door, walked past me, and sat down on the sofa. His eyes were full of mockery. "Michael, don't think you're that important. As long as I'm back, Sarah will leave you for me without thinking twice. It was my fault for going overseas and being stubborn. That's why she married you, just to get back at me." As I lowered my head and stayed silent, Tom continued. "Oh, and that cake shop she loves? We used to go there all the time on dates. She says you look good in light colors. I wear them often, so you know what that means." I gave a small, angry smile. He came here just to make me angry, and I had to stand up for myself. So what? I'm her husband. You're just the other guy. He looked at me and laughed. "Michael, the one who isn't loved is the third party." His words shocked me, hitting me hard. Anger rushed through me, and I was ready to fight back. But he suddenly spoke in a gentle voice. "Sarah, you're back?" he said warmly. Sorry. I made Michael angry. He's packing to leave." I turned around and saw Sarah standing there with a cold look on her face. Her expression was serious as she looked at me. "Michael, what is all this about? Can you just stop being jealous all the time?" I stared at her, looking at the smudged lipstick on her face, feeling like she was making fun of me. "Sarah, when I talked about getting a divorce last time, I was serious." I threw the divorce papers I had just printed at her. "If there's no problem, just sign them." She ignored the papers, walked past them, and sat down on the couch. "You are making a scene. I am tired, and I don't want to argue. I asked Tom to come check on you. Why are you fighting with him?" Her words made me feel so angry I could barely think. I didn't understand it. With Tom back and me willing to let her go, why wasn't she happy about it? "I'm not making a scene. I am just making it clear for you two." I said what I needed to, trying not to make this any longer than it had to be. "Sign the papers. I will see you at the government office in a month." Before she could say anything back, I turned around and walked out. Behind me, I heard Tom's quiet voice. "Sarah, aren't you going to comfort Michael?" Her voice was firm. "No need, he'll be back. He can't leave me." I stopped for just a moment, then kept walking. She truly believed I would never leave her, that I would always come running back as soon as I left. But she was wrong. I had reached my limit, and I just wanted to go. After leaving the house, I checked into a hotel for a month. Even though I had spent years with Sarah, I hadn't completely stopped working. Whether she believed it or not, I knew I could still live well without her. When I married Sarah and decided to mostly stop working, my mentor, Mr. Peterson, had advised me not to do it. I hadn't listened to him then. Mr. Peterson was like a father to me. Back in school, he guided me when I directed a film that became well known. It was about time I visited him and said I was sorry. When he saw me, he looked surprised, but also not entirely shocked. I was carrying a gift and smiling slightly. "Hey, teacher, I heard you retired. I came to see you," I said. Mr. Peterson gave a cold snort. "Now you remember me, huh?" he said, opening the door and going inside. "Come on in." I told him about what had happened over the past few years, of course, keeping some things to myself. Pretending to be angry, he said, "Feeling bad about it now, are you? There aren't that many ways to fix mistakes in the world. If you had kept working hard as a director, you would be famous by now." I knew he felt sorry for me, so I forced a smile. Yeah, I know." He pretended not to care. "I have a really good script here. They asked me to film it, but I am too old now. I'm giving this chance to you younger people." He handed me a business card. I looked at him, and my eyes became a little watery. Just as I was about to thank him, Mr. Peterson stood up, waved his hand, and said with a smile, "Old people get tired easily. You should go home now." After leaving his house, I started getting ready for the new movie. They had originally wanted Sarah to play the main female character, thinking her fame would bring a lot of attention to the film. But I turned them down, saying she wasn't the right person for the role. I had my own idea of what I wanted. I didn't need a famous celebrity. I needed someone who was truly perfect for the character. Since this was supposed to be Mr. Peterson's movie, but he had given it to someone unknown like me, people were doubtful. But because I was Mr. Peterson's choice for director, they couldn't openly criticize me. I stayed firm on my decision to ask Chloe to be in the movie. When she got my call, she was thrilled and thanked me many times. "Michael, I will work really hard. I won't let you down." On the first day of filming, I knew I had made the right choice. She might be new, but she had natural talent and a captivating presence. Unexpectedly, I ran into Sarah and Tom on the set. I had heard that they were working together on another film project. While I was away from the house, Sarah had felt strange without someone there to cook for her, leave the lights on, or prepare honey water for her hangovers. She found herself thinking about me often. Sarah had found out that I hadn't chosen her for the movie, but had chosen Chloe instead. Everyone wanted to be a part of this film because it had a great script and many experienced people from the industry were involved. Even though she was a well-known actress, it wasn't enough for this project. She wanted to say that she wasn't angry and that she was okay if I didn't want to work hard, that she would still support me. So she came to the set to see me, but seeing me laughing and talking with Chloe made her change her mind. She looked at me, her eyes full of scorn. "Michael, just come back to me, okay? It's been a long time since you've directed a movie. Don't make a fool of yourself." Tom added in, "Michael, how could you let someone else act in this film? Sarah should be the lead. And honestly, can Chloe really act better than Sarah?" He looked at Chloe in a way that showed he thought he was better than her. Chloe knew that without me, she wouldn't have gotten the part. So hearing this made her feel a bit sad. Watching the two of them, I couldn't help but find it a little funny. "It's my movie, so it's my choice," I said. "Besides, I don't think Chloe is any worse than some other people." Hearing this, Chloe's eyes lit up. Sarah saw me sticking up for Chloe and looked hurt. She stared at me for a few moments, seemed to understand something, and her face became dark before she turned and left. I was just confused. They never tried to find me after that. Sarah would call sometimes, but I would just not answer. The damage she had caused was too much to fix, and I wasn't going to forgive her. I focused on directing every day. Even though it was tiring and not always familiar, I found the joy and satisfaction of directing again. I didn't feel tired at all. The day to go to the marriage registration office came quickly. I woke up early and waited outside, but there was no sign of Sarah. I called her, but she didn't answer. Feeling frustrated, I went back to the house angrily. When I opened the door, I saw her sitting lazily on the sofa. She just looked up and said, "Oh, you're back." Seeing how little she seemed to care, I couldn't help but laugh without any real humor. "Why didn't you go to the registration office?" "I never planned on getting a divorce, Michael. Just come back home, okay?" Seeing how sure of herself she was left me unable to speak. "What makes you think I would come back?" She was confident because she believed I loved her too much to leave. I gave a small, cold smile. "And Tom? You're okay with him just being your second choice?" When I said Tom's name, she looked a bit uneasy, but she still said, "It's fine like this. We'll just keep our marriage a secret, and I'll act with him on screen." So that was her plan, to have everything she wanted, trying to manage both relationships at the same time. I couldn't believe I had ever liked someone like this. I laughed mockingly, my eyes full of disgust. "Sarah, what do you think you are? If I hadn't gone out drinking and making connections for you, getting you opportunities, you would never have become a star. Without you, I will live just fine, even better than before." Hearing this, Sarah's face became dark, and she said angrily, "Fine then, I'll see just how well you can manage." Ignoring her mean comments, I just turned around and left. Since that day, I became completely focused on making movies. I would sleep on the set whenever I was tired. I haven't been in touch with Sarah at all. In fact, I haven't heard anything from her in a long time. I've only heard that Sarah and Tom haven't been acting much either. Sometimes they appear in the news because strangers have seen them out on dates. There are occasional stories about them traveling together. After months of hard work, my first film as a director finally finished filming successfully. Just a few days after it came out, the ticket sales went really high, and the movie theaters were full of people. Chloe also became very popular quickly, becoming the most talked about actress lately. She called me to say thank you and promised she would never forget that I helped her. Even the people who had doubted me in the past called to congratulate me. I called my mentor, Mr. Peterson, to thank him for giving me the chance. He said there was no need to thank him, that I had earned it, and that he knew I could do it. A month later, people were still talking a lot about the film. I won the award for Best New Director at a ceremony. During my speech when I accepted the award, I started by thanking everyone who had helped me. My eyes looked out at the people in the audience, stopping when I saw Sarah and Tom, who were clapping, but their faces looked complicated. I gave a small smile that wasn't entirely friendly. Besides thanking the people I had already mentioned, I said, "I have a special thanks for someone else, Sarah, my wife." The crowd got really loud. Cameras quickly turned to point at me. Sarah's face became dark, and her eyes showed shock and a warning. I had one more piece of happy news to share with everyone. Today is our 7th wedding anniversary. I took out our marriage certificate, and the camera zoomed in on it. I paused and smiled. But because of some things that have happened, we are getting a divorce. I wish the best to Tom and Sarah. My lighthearted tone didn't match the noise and surprise in the room. The comments online exploded with people saying mean things about them. Everyone's attention was on them, and people were whispering. Sarah and Tom's faces turned different shades of red as they stared at me in disbelief. The cameras even moved to show them, and they looked very uncomfortable under everyone's gaze. Seeing that I had done what I wanted to do, I walked away, trying to look cool. Once the ceremony finished, I took a different way out that I had planned ahead of time, slipping out without anyone noticing. Meanwhile, the reporters rushed into the room. Some angry people even threw bottles at Sarah and Tom, forcing them to leave quickly. After that day, Sarah and Tom's careers went downhill very fast. People online said terrible things about them, and companies canceled their advertising deals, leaving them with big bills for breaking contracts. Sarah tried to get help from everyone she knew, but no one wanted to help her. They haven't been seen much in movies or on TV since then. One day, as I was getting ready to go to work as usual, Sarah was standing at my door. She looked tired and worn out, very different from the beautiful woman she used to be. "Michael, I was wrong before. I didn't realize how good you are." Her words made me smile a little inside. I never thought I would hear her say that. I gave a short, cold laugh. "Perfect timing. Since you're here, let's go to the government office now." She couldn't believe how cold I was acting. "You—" "I was serious, Sarah. I am not joking. If you want me to show even a little bit of care that might be left between us." She realized that I was serious, and that there was no going back. "Is there no way to change this?" I nodded. "Nope." She took a deep breath, looking full of regret. "I understand. Let's go." About an hour later, we walked out of the government office with our divorce papers. It felt like a great relief to me. Sarah noticed that I was smiling, and it seemed to hurt her. "Michael?" I stopped her before she could say anything else, waved goodbye, showing her that there was nothing more to say, and got into a taxi. After that, Sarah would call me sometimes, but I didn't answer. The harm she had done was too much to repair, and I wasn't going to forgive her. Both she and Tom slowly disappeared from the public eye. I heard that they didn't stay together either. Sarah couldn't help Tom get acting jobs anymore, So he left her and quietly went back to his hometown. Over time, I became a very well-known director. Everyone in the industry wanted to work with me. My career was doing extremely well, and I had a bright future ahead of me.